know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Going into this game, I said it in my preview, I knew this was going to be a very tough game for the Dolphins to win. I just wasn't feeling it all week. And it's very easy to excite me for Dolphin games. This week was just different, however. I had very little confidence going into the game. And did I expect us to win today? No, I didn't. Do I appreciate the fight that this team put up in the fourth quarter? Absolutely. Absolutely. Teddy Bridgewater, as much as everybody wants to say how bad he played, Teddy Bridgewater gave us a really good chance in the fourth quarter. You can't deny that. Teddy Bridgewater gave this team a really good chance to win the game at the end of the day. Am I going to blame this game on one player? No, I'm not going to do that. This is, once again, another collective team loss for the Miami Dolphins. This is on the quarterback play. For most of the part, the defense actually didn't play terrible. I was nervous going into the game against this explosive Vikings offense. You know what? At the end of the day, I will give the defense credit. They did the best they could to keep this team in the game. What happened at the end of halftime was not their fault. Yeah, they got burned a couple plays. That happens. The touchdown at the end, I mean, that was coming off that fumble by Jalen Waddle, which costed the Dolphins to win. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad. I'm not mad about this loss. I don't know if that sounds weird, but it's just for me, personally, possibly, because I didn't expect us to win this game. But good thing Tua is back next week. Tua is back next week. Hopefully, we get Teron Armstead back. Hopefully, we get Austin Jackson back. I have no clue what the status on Jalen Waddle is. That looked like a terrible injury late in the fourth quarter. So I don't know what his status is going to be next week. And look, he looked to be in a lot of pain. I'll say that. When he was putting his shoulder, he looked to be in a lot of pain. I don't know what the status of Nick Needham is. This team is just bad luck. This team was just caught with bad luck. Third straight week in a row, the starting quarterback goes down with an injury. Tua against Cincinnati, Teddy against the Jets, and now Skylar against the Vikings. 3 weeks in a row. And then we get multiple injuries. Needham, Emmanuel Ogbah, Keon Crossan. Just brutal, man. Just brutal. So, but we're going to go over this game. Got a lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about. But I thank y'all so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. Next week is a huge week for the channel. It's Steelers week. And my ass is going to the game Sunday night. I'm going to be vlogging, video on Tuesday. We'll get that back and rolling. The video on Tuesday. Also got the preview for this week. And then Sunday I'm driving down to Miami for the Sunday night football game, Dolphins Steelers. And I'll talk about that a little bit. I'll talk about that game a little bit toward the end of the video. But let's just get into it, man. Vikings defeat the Dolphins 24-16. And the game started with the Vikings going 3 and out. Dolphins get the ball. Skylar Thompson's first play of the game is a short pass to Alec Ingold. He then finds Tyreek Hill for 2 yards. 3rd and 7. Skylar Thompson makes a very nice run for 9 yards to get the Dolphins to their own 47-yard line. Throws a nice pass to Mike Gesicki over the middle for 18 yards. 3rd and 9. Skylar Thompson gets sacked back at the Vikings' 42-yard line, and they have to punt. The offensive line was very bad today. I'll say this. I don't know if I'm overreacting or not, but the Dolphins' offensive line today was worse than the offensive line last year. It was that bad, folks. It was that bad. It was brutal to watch. So the Dolphins, unfortunately, thanks to Greg Little, have to punt. Vikings with another 3 and out, so the defense looks good early. First play of the drive, Skylar Thompson throws deep right to Jalen Waddle for 30 yards. Raheem Mostert then gets a nice pitch for 16 yards. Tyreek Hill for 9 yards. And Raheem Mostert for 3 yards. Then, this is when the ridiculous amount of penalties start happening. And before anybody says that the refs were bad, I'm not blaming this on the refs. These were legit calls, bad plays by the Dolphins' offensive line that might have costed us the game. This drive, at the end of the day, could have costed the Dolphins the game. So first thing that happens is Robert Hunt gets called for false start. 1st and 15. Then Skylar Thompson throws a pass to Trent Sherfield for 20 yards. We get called for an ineligible downfield player, Connor Williams. It's now 1st and 20. Next play, Skylar Thompson throws deep to River Craycraft, which is completed for 32 yards down to the Vikings' 2-yard line. Liam Eichenberg gets called for offensive holding. Brutal. Fucking brutal. 1st and 30. Skylar Thompson throws it to Jalen Waddle for 18 yards. No flags. 2nd and 12. Skylar Thompson throws it to Tyreek Hill for 9 yards. We get penalty for offensive pass interference on Alec Ingold. It's now 2nd and 22. Incomplete. 3rd and 22 at the Vikings 36. Jalen Waddle gets a 6-yard catch, which is called offensive holding on Trent Sherfield. It's now 3rd and 32. It's an incomplete pass. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 penalties on the Miami Dolphins for 40 yards. And with that, you're not going to win football games. That's just bad and unacceptable football by the Dolphins offensive line and the Dolphins offense. And this is when I put part of the blame on Mike McDaniel. Okay? This team is not disciplined. And part of that reason is the head coach. Mike McDaniel has to do a better job with disciplining his team. Disciplining the offensive line. Because that can't happen. And especially it can't happen in these next 5 games with now started out the season 3-0. Now you're 3-3 with the next 5 games, which should be wins. That can't happen. That definitely can't happen. The Vikings get another 3 and out, and we go to the second quarter. 3 and out by the Dolphins. 3 and out by the Vikings. And on the Dolphins 3 and out at the 3rd and 8 at the Dolphins 30-yard line, Skylar Thompson throws an incomplete pass, and he gets his thumb jammed up by 2 defensive linemen on the Vikings. So he hurts his thumb, and he's out for the rest of the game. But overall, man, Skylar was making some throws. It sucks that we got all these penalties because while we were getting all those penalties, Skylar didn't look terrible at all. And what I saw from him making throws to Gesicki and Waddle, I was okay with the performance from Skylar Thompson today. It's just the offensive line costed us points on that drive. So, that was terrible. Teddy Bridgewater then comes out, 2nd and 11, throws a 17-yard pass to Mike Gesicki. Raheem Mostert gets it for 7 yards, down to the Vikings 46. Mostert for 2 yards, 3rd and 1. Alec Ingold gets 2 yards. 3rd and 1. Teddy Bridgewater gets sacked after stepping on his own teammate's shoe. Yes, that's what happened. He stepped on Liam Eichenberg's shoe, and the Dolphins settled for a 44-yard field goal by Jason Sanders to make it a 3-0 Dolphins lead. Vikings then go 7 plays, 75 yards. First play of the drive, Cousins to Adam Thielen for 14 yards. Nick Needham immediately grabs his ankle. He's screaming in pain. He gets carted off the field. And at that point, that's kind of when the drive changed. Noah Ibenogany came in to replace him. And the Dolphins just did whatever, the Vikings did whatever they wanted to the Miami Dolphins on this drive. Cousins to Adam Thielen for 11 yards. Cousins to Justin Jefferson for 20 yards. Dalvin Cook for 3 yards. 3rd and 6. Cousins to Justin Jefferson for 24 yards. Christian Wilkins got called for roughing the passer, which didn't matter because the Vikings got it down to the Dolphins 2. And on the next play, Cousins delivered a touchdown pass to Irv Smith. And the Vikings go up 7-3. Dolphins go 7 plays, 19 yards after a missed 52-yard field goal by Jason Sanders. And I know Jason Sanders was really good in 2020. He was one of the best kickers in the NFL, and he was money. But somehow, in the past 2 seasons, he's lost his spark. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. But Jason Sanders lost his spark from 2020. And I don't know how he's going to get that back, but it's unacceptable. It's really unacceptable. Like, you can miss a 50-yard field goal here and there. I get it. It's not automatic. 50-plus yard field goals are not automatic. But I mean, Jesus Christ, every time they put him out there for a 50-plus yard field goal, he misses. He missed against the Bengals. He missed against the Jets, which basically turned the tables in that game. And now he costed us this week against the Vikings with another missed 50-plus yard field goal. Vikings go 3 and out, and there's 28 seconds left. Okay, the Dolphins are down 7-3. They can't move the ball for shit on offense. Why Mike McDaniel is coming up with plays instead of just taking the knee, knowing you get the ball first to start the half, was so dumb. So dumb. And again, this is a collective loss for the Dolphins. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching. Yes, I'm putting part of this loss on Mike McDaniel. And this was one of the reasons why. Your offense is playing like shit. Take the knee, go into halftime, and figure your shit out. Instead, Bridgewater throws an interception intended for Jalen Waddle, which Waddle tipped, and it was caught by Harrison Smith, and Waddle has to catch that ball. But regardless, I'm not, regardless, you just have to take the knee in that situation. And don't force it. Because then you're giving the opposite opponent points. And that's exactly what happened. The Vikings connected on a 34-yard field goal to take a 10-3 lead. And here's another one. Another bad coaching decision. Dolphins get the ball first to start the half. 4th and 1 on our own 34-yard line. It didn't matter at the end of the day, but just a terrible decision, which I have to question. A fake punt to Clayton Fedulin, which he doesn't get. Like, why? Why that early in the half are you faking it on your own 34-yard line? If you want to fake it on their 40-something yard line, I'm all for it if it makes sense. But this made no sense. This fake right here made no sense. And again, this is another questionable decision by Mike McDaniel. Vikings go 3 and out. You see what I mean with this defense? This defense did its job today. Besides a couple plays, you look from now until the third quarter, my God, the Dolphins defense had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So until they scored their touchdown, the Dolphins offense held the Vikings to 8 3-and-outs. They did their job for the most part. They did their job, and the offense didn't help them in the third quarter. So after that fake punt, the Vikings go 3-and-out, the Dolphins go 3-and-out. The Vikings go 3-and-out, the Dolphins go 3-and-out. The Vikings go 3-and-out, and the Dolphins go 3-and-out. And in the third quarter, Teddy Bridgewater gave this offense no life. No life whatsoever. I wanted to stop watching the game. I'm like, we wasted $6.5 million on Teddy Bridgewater for this. This is unacceptable. But my opinion changed in the fourth quarter, and I'll talk about it. But then we get into the fourth quarter. Before we get into the fourth quarter, first play of the drive, Cousins to Justin Jefferson for 8 yards. 3rd and 2, C.J. Ham runs it up the middle for 3 yards. Cousins gets it to K.J. Osborne for 7 yards. And then this is the play that got us. Justin Jefferson burnt Xavier Howard for 47 yards down the field, and he's tackled at the Dolphins' 8-yard line. It's just a good play designed by the Vikings, man. They're one of the best offenses in the NFL, and you got to give credit when credit's due. It was a good play by the Vikings. 2nd and goal at the 2. Cousins finds an easy touchdown to Adam Thielen, and it is 16-3 after a missed extra point by Greg Joseph. And then this is what I'm talking about. Teddy Bridgewater gave the Dolphins a good chance in the fourth quarter. Dolphins go down 7 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown. Teddy Bridgewater throws it short to Tyreek Hill for 13 yards. Second and 7, Bridgewater throws it to Tyreek Hill for 28 yards. He then throws it to Mike Gesicki for 13 yards. Mozart rushes for 4 yards. Teddy with a beautiful scramble for 10 yards. Then he finds Mike Gesicki for a 4-yard touchdown. So now Teddy is making some nice plays. Got the Dolphins down there pretty quickly. 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And I wish we got that in the third quarter, but Dolphins are now down 16-10. And when you need the defense to step up after the offense just got a very important touchdown, the defense does exactly that. 3 and out for the Vikings, and then this is when life comes crumbling down, and the Dolphins ultimately lose the game. First play at the Dolphins 20, Teddy finds Tyreek Hill for 23 yards. Second and 10, Teddy is sacked for 9 yards by Zadarius Smith. Really bad by Liam Eichenberg, I think that let Smith go up the middle. And this offensive line was just terrible. Outside of Connor Williams and Hunt, without Armstead, this offensive line's poop. It's poop. So on 3rd and 19, Bridgewater finds Chase Edmonds for 14 yards. And on 4th and 5 at our own 48-yard line, Bridgewater finds, guess who? Tyreek Hill for 14 yards. Mostert up the middle. Hunt gets called for offensive holding. Bridgewater finds Trent Sherfield for 6 yards. And then this is the play that changes the game. Bridgewater finds Jalen Waddle for 14 yards, and Harrison Smith rips the ball out of Waddle's hands, which is recovered by the Vikings. Waddle is devastated about this, beating himself up over the fumble, and that play ultimately costed us the game. Waddle didn't cost us the game, but the play that he fumbled, that was when the game was kind of over. At that point, the Vikings were just going to kill clock, which they scored a touchdown in 2 plays. But at that point, the Vikings were in total control of the game, and Waddle fumbled that game away. So that's very heartbreaking. Very, very heartbreaking moment right there for the Dolphins, to see Jalen Waddle fumble the game away. After the fumble by Waddle, Vikings go 2 plays, 59 yards, Cook for 6 yards, and then Cook up the middle for 53 yards and a Vikings touchdown. They complete on the 2-point conversion. Teddy Bridgewater throws another intercepted, intended for Trent Sherfield. That was completely on him. That was completely on Bridgewater. Vikings go 3 and out. Dolphins then go 6 plays, 83 yards. Basically, garbage time. Garbage time right here. Bridgewater throws a screen to Waddle, who goes for 49 yards, lands on his right shoulder, and is clutching his shoulder in serious pain. He was sitting there for a little bit, walked off to the sideline. I hope it's not serious, man, because that would, with Tua coming back, that would be an extremely brutal loss for this Dolphins team. Bridgewater at the Vikings 34-yard line finds Tyreek Hill for 14 yards, Mike Gesicki for 14 yards. Bridgewater gets sacked. 2nd and goal finds Chase Edmonds for 14 yards, and 3rd and goal finds Mike Gesicki again for 3 yards. They decide to go for 2, intended for Mike Gesicki, and it's incomplete. And the Vikings recover the onside kick to win the game, 24-16. Let's go over some stats for the game. I usually do stats first, but I got it all mixed up, which is completely fine. Kirk Cousins, 20 for 30, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he didn't play that great of a game, but he got 2 touchdown passes, no turnovers. And that's something else that's just killing us. Even though the defense, I'm going to give their credit, they did good for the most part in this game. All those 3 and outs, they just can't find to get the turnover. They can't get a turn. They couldn't get a turnover against Cincinnati, the Jets, or the Vikings, and it came back to bite us. But that was Cousins' stats. Dalvin Cook, 13 for 77, 13 carries for 77 yards, 1 touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 107 yards. Who really didn't do much besides that one play for 47 yards that was given up by Xavier Howard. So, for the most part, the Dolphins did fine on Justin Jefferson, but he broke away from that one play, and that's why he got over 100 yards. Adam Thielen, 4 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown. Irv Smith, 4 catches for 7 yards and a touchdown. KJ Osborne, 3 catches for 18 yards. Then we go to the Dolphins. Teddy Bridgewater, 23 for 34, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Skylar Thompson, 7 for 13, 89 yards. Raheem Mostert, 14 carries for 49 yards. Tyreek Hill had himself a day. 12 catches for 177 yards. Jalen Waddle, 6 catches for 129 yards. Even though he had that stat line, he still fumbled the game away. And I'm not going to take that away from him. That's a huge error on his part, and a big reason why we lost the game. I'm not saying, oh, Jalen Waddle costed this team the game. Jalen Waddle was a big reason the Dolphins lost today. So, even though with that stat line, which looks like, oh man, he had a great game, he was one of the reasons why we lost today. So, Mike Gesicki, 6 catches, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chase Edmonds, 2 catches, 28 yards. So, yeah. Dolphins lost. Tough loss at home. And they're 3-3 now. They are shit out of luck without Tua. But the good thing is Tua's back next week. Tua is back for the revenge game against Brian Flores and the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football, which is going to be a really big game for the Dolphins, I think. The Steelers, may I add, are coming off a big win today at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 20-18. So they've got momentum going into this Sunday night game, and they're going to feel confident. And even though they're not as good as they were last year, they've got some good players over there. So it's going to be a good game, and we'll talk about it all week long. I will be at that game Sunday night at Hard Rock. I'm sitting third level, section 332. But I'm sitting like second row, so I got some solid seats for next week's game, and I'm excited, man. But the Dolphins are 3-3 right now. They're out of the playoff picture. It's Bills, Chiefs, Titans, Ravens, Jets, Chargers, and the Colts. After the Jets knocked off the Packers in Lambeau, and the Colts beat the Jaguars. So the Dolphins, again, lose today, but they're getting Tua back next week. Hopefully he's followed by Teron Armstead, because we fucking need Teron Armstead next week against the Steelers. They're a very good defensive line, and Greg Little sucks. So, and if Teron Armstead comes back, I'm putting Teron at left tackle, and I'm keeping Shell at right tackle, because he's better than Greg Little is. So, but the Dolphins are 3-3, folks. They need to take advantage of these next 5 games. This is the part of your schedule where you need to win. Now is the time to win for the Miami Dolphins. your next 5 games, your first 6 games, you played very good teams. You played the Patriots, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, the Jets, and Minnesota. All 6 pretty good teams. Even the Patriots, they're kind of back. So the Dolphins are 3-3, but you've got to take advantage these next 5 games. You play home versus Pittsburgh Sunday night. I'll be there. At the Lions, at the Bears, home versus Cleveland, who got obliterated at home by the Patriots. A bye week 11, and then home versus the Texans. You've got to win at least 4 out of 5. Anything below that is unacceptable, and this team will go another season without the playoffs. These next 5, you've got to take at least 4 out of 5. 5 out of 5 would be fantastic. I'd be thrilled with that. But you've got to get these next 5 games against Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, and Houston. With Tua back, with hopefully Tehran coming back, all 5 of these games must-win games for the Miami Dolphins. So that's going to do it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go watch the Bills and the Chiefs. Thank you all so much. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We got some more Dolphins content. Now thinking about it, Tuesday, okay, because the Phillies play Tuesday night in the NLCS, and I 100% am probably going to watch that. But you guys will get a video on Tuesday. We'll talk more about this game, Tua's return, how big this Steelers game is coming up. This game coming up against the Steelers is freaking huge, man. So we'll talk more about that game on Tuesday. Preview, not sure what day it's going to be next, but certainly have a preview for the game, and then Sunday I'm going down to Miami for the game. I'm going to be sitting in section 332, second row. So I hope to meet a lot of Dolphin fans, man. I'm definitely excited for next weekend. So it's going to be a movie. I can't wait. But thank you guys so much. Have a good one. Stay safe. Try to keep your head up. Fins up.